You guys ready? Okay, who's ready to be completely grossed out? Yay! Not gonna be, well, I don't know if it's gonna be as gross as T-Von's, but we'll get started. Okay, so I wanted to show you some slideshow, okay? And we're gonna talk about each picture, okay, and why it's important. And then I'm gonna tell you why it's really important when we get to the end of it, okay? Hands and feet and hair, issues you never wanna see on a client, right? Never. First up, we have got a hair color allergic reaction, okay? So this is a possibility that can happen with a client if we're not doing a test spot on them with hair color, okay? Doesn't look very nice, does it? Kind of gross, okay? This is another one, except for she broke out on her forehead. Okay, so these are some pretty serious things that can happen to your client if we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing with clients before we begin a service. Okay? Looks awful. She probably has to go to the hospital for that. Next up, we have toenail fungus. Looks delicious. Anybody eating it? So basically, this is toenail fungus that has gone on for a very long time. This is very common in older people because they can't reach their feet. They probably don't show their feet to the doctor very often. Something like this, if left untreated for many years, can actually lead to amputation. It's pretty serious stuff, okay? Next up, we have more toenail fungus. Isn't that beautiful? It smells great too. It smells just rotten. You never want that smell. Next up, we have, this is like a combination of fungus and mold. So basically what's happened is she's probably hit her fingernail and it's given a chance for the fungus to get in there. But then there's probably been some air pockets in there and some water has gotten under there and other lovely things that you touch with your hands and it's caused some mold, okay? It's really gross. Next up, we have finger herpes. Okay, so if we see this on a client, we're not going to work on this client. We're going to redirect them to a physician because we're not allowed to diagnose things. We just have to say, we can't do a service and you're going to have to move on to the doctor before I can see you. Next up, we have infected finger. Okay, so if a client comes in and they've got this going on, we're probably not going to perform a manicure on them, right? Because that wouldn't be very good. We don't want to deal with pus. It's not our job. So this is a client. This is not one of my clients. This is a client that went in for a pedicure, was diabetic. The esthetician did not do a proper consultation, okay, and didn't know that the client was diabetic and used a blade, or what is called a credo blade, on the client. Cut the client. Diabetics, as you know, don't heal very well, okay, and gangrene has set in. This is some pretty serious things that can happen in the salon, okay. Lastly, we have some gangrene toes. So even the smallest, tiniest little cut, so she probably had, was cutting the cuticle around there and nipped her and made her bleed, and now we have this issue, okay. So not super nice, right? So this is why it is important for us to do a proper consultation intake form with the client and keep them on record. So if I was to do an intake form on a client and then say I'm gone and another esthetician or hairdresser has to see a client, they have this form to look over, okay? So this is something either you can fill out with a client or they can fill out themselves, and then it's something you're gonna read every time your client comes in, because let's face it, we can't remember everything about every client. They would love us to, but it's not gonna happen, right? So what are some of the things you think we should be asking on these forms? Anybody have any ideas?
Diabetic.
Diabetic, okay. Or what my mama calls the sugars. What else should we be asking? Maybe if they have blood clots. Because if we have blood clots in our legs, we can't, or if they have a blood clot in their leg, we can't perform a massage service.
Well, what if they don't know that? Like what if
usually